Howdy there, folks. How's everyone doing today? It is Generalkidd here. So, for today's video, we are going to be talking about whether Noble 6's sacrifice at the end of Halo Reach was really necessary at all. So, spoiler alert, at the end of Halo Reach, as Noble 6, you're supposed to destroy this Covenant cruiser here, and then you sacrifice yourself and eventually die in order to ensure that Pillar of Autumn can escape and doesn't get glassed by the Covenant cruiser here. But was this sacrifice really necessary? The Pillar of Autumn, it just, they take off and leave without Noble 6. They leave him behind because he volunteered to stay behind and man the gun. Because, they thought that's the only way to destroy the cruiser as it was approaching. And that's why Noble 6 volunteered, and Captain Keyes was like, alright, see ya. So, let's see if that was actually necessary or not. So first, I do want to remind you, a couple days ago, I uploaded a video showing you guys what it's like to use the cannons on the Pillar of Autumn. This giant, turret-like guns on the sides of the Pillar of Autumn. They can actually, they're actually real vehicle/weapons that, with very simple modding, you can get into and actually, fire. And I showed you that these are very deadly guns that can shred, Phantoms and Banshees apart very quickly. They're very powerful, and of course they're also huge compared to, even the Mac cannon itself. But what does this turret have to do with anything? Well, at the beginning of this part of the mission, when you first come and see the Pillar of Autumn, you see that the guns in the distance are actually firing. You're on the ground here, trying to clear the enemies. You see that the turrets are actually firing in the distance and, shooting down Banshees and Phantoms and stuff in the distance. And you would think that they're not real, but as I showed you, they're actually real, firing actually real weapons. Okay, so back to what these turrets have to do with anything. So after, Emil dies and Captain Keyes takes off and starts flying back towards the Pillar of Autumn, if we take a look at the Pillar of Autumn again, the turrets aren't firing anymore. For some reason, even though there's still Phantoms and Banshees everywhere and a Covenant cruiser approaching, they decided not to fire the cannons in the Pillar of Autumn anymore. Why? Why not fire them? It maybe could have made a difference. Well, you may be thinking, they won't make a difference. The cannons are too weak to tank a cruiser. You need a Mac cannon, right? Well, let's see. So with a little bit of modding here, I did make the cannon on the side of the Pillar of Autumn fire at the cruiser as it's approaching. And here you can see it's actually firing. Now, it did take a little bit of modding, and it actually took a lot more work than it should have, because I literally tried to do it the hardest way possible. But I did have the cruiser fire, the cannons fire at the cruiser, and we're going to see whether just one cannon on the Pillar of Autumn could have made a difference. Could Noble 6's sacrifice have been totally avoided if they just kept firing their cannons? Well, let's see. So here now the cruiser is about to fire its glassing beam, and the cannon is now shooting at the cruiser. And, it's taken a while. It's almost charged up. And when it's almost about to fire, boom, it worked. The cannons on the side of the Pillar of Autumn are actually positioned in the right place and can do enough damage to actually destroy the cruiser without Noble 6 having to fire the Mac cannon. So this whole time, Noble 6 could have left with Captain Keyes, and really even Emil if he had gotten out of the Mac cannon earlier. Because, when Captain Keyes says a cruiser's approaching, he needs Noble 4 to take it out. Instead of doing that, if Noble 4 had just quickly left and joined Noble 6 and they all flew away, they all could have left and lived happily ever after while the Pillar of Autumn's cannon fires at the cruiser. So at least two of the cannons that are usable in game are within range of the glassing port on the cruiser. Now, I did have to mod in a second cannon here, and I did change the angle of it a little bit. I had to put it right side up just so I can get into it. But it's still within the same, it can still point at the same thing as the original turret. So the original turret on the side should still be able to fire in this direction. And, even if it couldn't, there's a dozen more turrets on the side of the Pillar of Autumn here. You can see there's a couple more large ones here, two of them here. Also all, pointed within, the direction of the cruiser. You got a couple more here that could probably hit the cruiser. and there's a couple more on top of the ship here. Also, probably can hit the cruiser. And as you just saw earlier when I showed you, all it took was just one cannon. One cannon had enough firepower, you know, when firing into the glassing port to destroy the cruiser. So, you know, if you know, you could say like one cannon was too risky. It took too long, and I barely got the cruiser destroyed in time. But if they had been firing all their cannons, it would have been destroyed really quickly. No need for the Mac cannon, no need for Noble 6 or even Emil to die. You know, should have worked out. So what's really happening here on a technical level? Well, there's a invisible box here inside the cruiser. Not this box here. This one's probably related to something else, probably moving the ship around or something else. But there's like a second box here that you can't see. It's invisible, but it's there for when weapons hit it, and it has a certain amount of health to it. When the health reaches 0, then the cruiser quote-unquote dies. And there's two things that can kill in one hit, which is the Mac cannon, or if you saw it in like a much older video of mine from like, you know, half a year ago or so, something like a vehicle bumping into it, like a Banshee, would also kill in one hit. But as it turns out, other weapons can destroy it. It just takes a lot of damage to destroy it with regular weapons fire, and basically only the Pillar of Autumn's cannons are powerful enough without modding to destroy that quote-unquote invisible cube underneath the cruiser. So yeah, I don't know why, you know, the Pillar of Autumn decided to stop firing its cannons. If it kept firing and targeted the cruiser, you know, everything would have been fine. Could this have been some Oni conspiracy to get Noble Team killed, to get Noble 6 killed, so that Master Chief could be propped up as the poster child for the Spartan program? Who knows? Maybe, you know, it was all planned out, and Captain Keyes is, you know, in league with Oni, and they agreed that, you know, even though they could destroy the cruiser, they weren't going to. They're going to leave Noble 6 behind to die. So, you know, a little Halo conspiracy there for you guys. But, you know, anyways, obviously it's for dramatic effect to, you know, let Noble 6 die, but technically it wasn't necessary for him to sacrifice himself. He could have lived, and not just in some cave. He could have actually, you know, joined Master Chief on Installation 04 in Halo 1 and everything, you know. So yeah, that's quite frankly the reality of Noble 6's death or sacrifice in Halo Reach. But yeah, so hopefully you guys did enjoy this video and found this to be interesting and eye-opening. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Definitely like to hear you guys' thoughts about this. But aside from that, just anything else you want me to check out or look into, or other theories you want me to test, stuff like that, just let me know, and I'll do my best to get around to it soon when I can. But other than that, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.